Yes.
All right, so welcome you guys. Thank you for joining us for episode number 6 of Turn Your Pain to Purpose. And we have just been absolutely loving these conversations and just being able to dig into these things, any of these barriers, these challenges that are holding us back so that we can step into a new year with great tools and great strategies for breakthrough so that we can truly level up.
Level up in our
We're
lives.
gonna level up.
I mean, why not?
Yeah. So, just for those of you who are new, we have a few new people here. So, you want to kind of share of a little bit of just about the purpose of these and.
Yeah, I mean, I would first just like kind of think back over this year. We all have gone through some level of change, of challenge, of pain, of trauma, maybe grief. Maybe we lost somebody. We for sure did, and having to kind of navigate through that. And I was just on a podcast like 2 hours ago, and it was really powerful. And he asked me this really powerful question, and I just said, sometimes we just got to put our head down and we got to go through the storm because how do you deal with those challenges and those setbacks and those pains in your life is you got to go through it, and that becomes an opportunity for growth and eventually purpose. And I tell you what, like sometimes you start looking at those setbacks and those challenges a little bit differently. You start shifting your mind into thinking, man, this is an opportunity because I'm about to grow right now. And so that's what this is about: pain to purpose, leveling up your life in 2024 and essentially being the person you were created to be.
Yeah. So
The
it's
only way is through,
That's
ladies and
right.
gents.
only way is through. That's right. So we are super excited. We're going to jump right in with our special guest tonight who's going to share his insights on our 3 topics. And this guy,
Love this guy.
we met this guy. Um, so Marcus Kaulius, who he can wave. So those of you who know Marcus, we've known Marcus for, I don't know,
Long time.
14 years, 15 years, somewhere around there. And he was coming to our retreat in Mexico, our Soul Fit retreat in Mexico, and he said, "Hey, can I bring my brother?" And we were like, "Sure." Is he cool? And so we got to meet Darren for the first time on our retreat in Mexico, and we absolutely fell in love with him. And he not only stepped up for us so big at that retreat, like not even knowing us and coming into this retreat with all these like weird fitness people, and he stepped in as such a leader and a support system for those of you who don't know. We went into that retreat 5 weeks after 5 weeks after Travis, our business partner, died. So it was an incredibly emotional, amazing, beautiful time. But just to have people step in that were just completely new in our lives, that picked up so much of the weight for us and just helped us carry that load was just amazing. And so he instantly became part of our circle, our inner circle, someone that we love and someone that we trust, and also someone who is an incredible coach and has just coached. I don't even know how many people you coached. Thousands of people.
Thousands, millions.
He's an
Not million.
incredible coach and leader, and it just has poured into so many people, built so many people up. And when you hear a little bit of him share, you're going to see exactly what we mean. So I would like you all to please give a warm welcome to Coach DK, Darren Kaulius, our special guest tonight.
Thank you, thank you. I can hear the claps all over the world here. This is
Oh,
impressive.
Yes.
Thank you. I felt it.
love it.
Thank you. So yeah, I don't count anymore how many people I've coached, but I've been coaching a long time. My first team I ever coached featured this little 11-year-old little fullback, and our soccer team was really mouthy and talked back a lot. And that was my little brother. And he taught me a lot about coaching and how to handle, disrespectful young athletes. And it's really helped me along the way because I was such a terrible coach at the beginning. Really, I was so bad. I really coached the way I was coached. And as I look around the screen, as I think back to how you were coached, especially if you were coached in like the 80s, some of us in the 70s. It was basically like just do it, do what I say, and then there won't be problems. And so my brother's team was the first team I ever coached, and since then I've gone on to coach thousands of athletes, and then I moved into the world of CEOs and the C-suite people. Yeah, I see that coaching is yelling. I was very good at it. And one of my favorite stories is that, I think I was getting better and better. I'd been coaching for about 20 years, and my youngest daughter, on her last day of being one of my players, said, "Dad, you've gone from being awful to terrible." That was my big move. I moved it all the way. And that was a real eye opener because I thought, well, I'm not yelling anymore. I thought I was doing well, but she says, "No, Dad, you still have the face. You still have the face." And it was when I saw it on video. It was one of those after the year parties, and there were, all these kids having fun, and I'm out there I'm going, "You're doing great." And then I turned to the crowd like, "What's wrong with this kid?" My face was telling me everything. And as I've moved into like what is a good coach, I've gone through it all so now that I can help people, and now I have schools that train leaders on how to be better coaches, basically going through all of my experiences so that I can help people fast forward to being a better leader.
Mm,
Love that.
it's amazing, man.
Yeah, I mean, and it's just, yeah, I can't, I mean, just so much. I'm sure you've just learned and you just keep growing in that world too, just all the time. So cool.
Well, there's such a
Every
need
day.
for proper leadership too,
Hmm.
Yeah.
and really how that shapes from the coach with your analogy to the business leader and how he is leading his employees. It makes that culture, that environment, either amazing and something you can't wait for or something that you like, how can I get out of this? That all starts with that leadership.
Yeah. Awesome. So
Totally.
let's jump in. Let's
Yes.
get into our topics.
Time to go off the high dive.
Our three, so for those of you who are new, every one of our guests, we're asking them, we have three different strategies that we're kind of talking about that are breakthrough strategies that are keys for our breakthroughs in various aspects of our lives. So the first one that we want to talk about and get your insight on is our hot spots, our pain points, our trigger points, the things that we avoid, the things that are painful in our lives. And that could be in business, it could be that thing we're not willing to look at in our physical body, like I like to demonstrate every week on Micah. It's the knot in the muscle that we can't get out. It's that hot spot that the way to get out of that pain is actually by digging into it, and putting pressure on it, and it's going to hurt. There's usually going to be some pain involved, but that's how we actually get through and get to break that up. So give us your insights on how do we find those hot spots and what do we do with those?
So good. And I do love the way you've broken this down, and it like some of the speakers before, I got to think about, oh, what would I say here? So before I give the answer, say, I've been studying successful people my whole life. I found it fascinating. Like, what's the difference between success and failure? And, those of us who have been lucky enough to have some success would say, oh, it's a huge difference. But my experience is actually it's razor thin. It's just like, it's razor thin. It's the difference between success and failure. It's often one decision, just one decision. And I made this decision, and I don't know why, but I went this way. And what I found was the more successful people I started studying and sort of like, what's the difference? And it wasn't much. But one of the things I found is that they tell themselves better stories. You tell yourself a good story, I like our chances. Say, hey, should we do this? It's like, well, we know how to win. We're going to put a team together. Let's go. Versus people who are as successful might have a story that says, oh, hang on. I'm not sure. Oh, remember that time it didn't work in 1963? Maybe it's going to happen again. And so it's a way of looking at it is really what I would say. One of my hot spots I ask people is, what is losing? And what is failure? And what I want you to do is I want you to define it for me because I think we have such a fear of failing, such a fear of losing. It's like one of the things that's worked for me studying people and studying myself and getting to know is I never think about losing. So I'm either winning or I'm learning. And so that's my go-to for everything. I'm like, hey, here comes something I don't know. Well, I guess we're going to figure it out. And we might win. Like there's a good chance because I know some stuff. So if I could just get everyone to just pause before you're like, I don't know, just go, hey, define winning, define losing, define what you're afraid of. If you're winning or learning, wouldn't you want to take on everything? Like, let's go. Like, bring it. Can't wait. And so if you could just reframe it, I want you to know this, that, we all have our talents in the world. I'm a master reframer. Like, I'm a master at reframer. Let's go. Like, tell me the thing and let me help you reframe it. It's really what I do for a living. And how I say it is name it to tame it, then reframe it. So tell me what the loss is. Tell me what fear of failure. Tell me what would happen if we failed. And now, how do we look at that differently so we can actually move forward?
So what you really are is also just a master of shifting someone's perspective.
Very good.
I
You're giving
love
away
perspective
you're
and how
giving
that
away some of my stuff
changes.
coming up, but this
Yeah,
is very true.
yeah.
Is that we get stuck in perception. It's like this is what I see from down here. And especially if you get somebody else that says, well, this is what I see from down here. Now we got a nice, wonderful argument about what we both see. But if you can move to perspective, which is hang on, hang on, hang on. Let's look at this another way. Well, that's what I think a great coach does. Just offers perspective. Like I don't have the same emotional tie to your stories. This is why I think I can help people. They go, you're never going to believe this. This is the worst thing ever. I'm like, okay, tell me about it. And then what they often come to is, I had the answer the whole time. I'm like, I know. Like, really, all I did was I just kept asking questions until they saw it a different way. And suddenly, this huge problem isn't such a problem. And I know that sounds simple. You say, yeah, but you don't know the problem I'm dealing with. It's like, I don't. But no, know this that some people who are outside of the hand, they're outside, they can offer you so much more than when you're stuck. I use the term outside the hand. I've done many things in my life. I was a professional poker player for a few years. And what I noticed we talk about when we're watching people play at our table and you're not in the hand, wow, you can notice everything. Oh, you see his hand move? Oh, you see that they looked at their chips? Do you see their heartbeat is right there? You can see everything when you're out of it. But when you're in the hand, all you can see is your hand. It's like, oh, it's like perspective is I can see what's going on. I can see when I'm in my own perception, you don't understand what's going on. It's like, I know, I know. That's why I'm out of the hands and I can be of assistance out here.
So it's like if we have that pain point, it's like, so instead of, and that's probably true. It's like we're so zoned in on it. And it's like if we just step back and just take a look at it from a different lens or different angle or just a wider
Yes.
perspective. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. The emotion I use is this just because what happens when we're here, like, what else is there to see? What else is there? There's an old Hawaiian saying, which focus goes, energy flows. Is like, what are you focusing on? When people come to me and they say, this is so bad, I said, just time out. Tell me what you're focusing on. And it's not Christmas coming and how excited I am. It's this thing, it's this, and it's happening again. And Darren, you don't understand. It's like, okay, I don't. And I'm going to help you with this. But I'm here to support you and the highest version of you, not your story. Just so you know, I'm here to help you. I'm here to support you, not your story.
Mm.
And so one of the things that we get into immediately around coaching is the idea of story.
Mm-hmm.
Is like, what is fact? The fact is the thing that happened right at the moment, and everything after that is a story we made up. And some of our stories serve us, and some of our stories do not serve us. And once you kind of like really start playing around with it, it's like, holy cow, almost everything I'm telling myself that doesn't work for me is a story that doesn't serve me.
Mm.
And we'll add is anymore. Because at some point, I bet you that story served you.
Mm.
I'll bet you if we're in survival mode and you have some story like I got to be on high alert at all time, like, you know what? I'm so glad. I'm so glad you had that story because it got you here.
Mm.
I'm so glad you survived because it got you here. And now that you're here, what do you want to do from here? Because
Mm.
if you keep that same story, you can only go so far. And so, why I say name it to tame it and then reframe it, it includes our stories, it includes our fears. Let's just get it out. Let's just start batting it around. And once we do that, now we can do something.
I think it's very common too. Like in our space, we hear people's stories all the time, and we're like, dude, is this actually the real story, or is this a story that you created for yourself to keep you in the position because there's something larger, like you're so scared to fail, or something hasn't been healed yet. This is powerful, man. I love this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and I think it's a kind of a, like you're already kind of talking about what the next piece is. So I think we can just, it's, overcoming that fear of the fumble or that fear of
Yeah.
like, how do we do that? Like once we've identified, okay, here's this pain point, this scary thing. And a lot of times people, they don't want to dig into it. They're afraid of the pain, or they're afraid of failure, or whatever it is that they're afraid of. So
Yes.
how, like, what are some, we're talking about reframing, like how do we do that?
Such a great question. And like we could go into this, but I got to give the quickest versions that I possibly can. And here's one thing I think will help in the world of fear of the fumble is make new mistakes.
Hmm.
Make new mistakes. Like, let's just forget this idea of not making mistakes, right? I mean, this is hilarious, right? I mean, come on. Who here hasn't made a mistake? Hands up. What? Like every room in every place across the country and the world is we made so many. One of my mentors once said, if we all had to learn to walk again, there'd be a lot of people holding on the wall when the lights are on, going, I know how to walk. I just don't do it in front of everybody. And then the lights will go off. We try to figure it out. And then back on the wall when everyone's looking. It's like, you ever watched a baby learn how to walk? It's like, I mean, if they had our mentality, we'd be like, you know what? Maybe not walking's not for you. You seem to really be suffering. You're really falling down a lot there, kid. Do you want to find some other way? Not kid. They don't need that crap. They're like fall down. Sometimes they just start crying because it hurts, and then they're back up, and then they're falling, and they're back up. It's like there's the resilience that's there that we learned along the way to go. We can't make mistakes. We can't let anyone else see mistakes. When I've had some successes and failures in business, like a lot of people here. But when I finally had a business that really worked, that was our motto. Like, don't keep making the same mistake. Like, don't come up here with the same problem. Make new mistakes, and you're literally going to get a pat on the back. It's like, hey, well, we've never done that one. And now let's fix it and move on. But what did we learn? Because remember, if we're winning or learning, making new mistakes is like we're on our way.
Yeah, I,
Yeah.
Does
I
this
I
land?
think too. You talked about the baby analogy, and what's the difference between a baby and an adult? A baby doesn't care about judgment, whereas an adult,
Doesn't count.
we're so wrapped up in what others are thinking that we end up not even living the life that we're fully supposed to live. And it's so powerful, man.
Totally. Yeah, and I love kids. I love their energy. I love being around them. But what I realize is like most of us, at some point we just started taking on all the other stuff. All the stuff that probably well-meaning people put on us. But if you don't make any changes, or here's what I like to say to people, if you don't make any changes, then you better look at your caregivers and go, that's you. Like that this is happening. Like this is going to happen. And so for all you just love how it worked out for your caregivers, you should keep doing exactly what you've always done. But if you want something different, you're going to have to change. One of the stories that I can say this. I'm looking at another amazing father on this call, and there might be more, of course, but my brother and I really work on being great dads. Great dads. Like my 9-letter tombstone is a great dad. I got it picked out. I told the kids, let's go, that's what we're doing here. And I want to be held to that standard. Now, it didn't come from my brother and I having a wonderful experience with our father, but it made us put that as top of the list of what we value. And so, although our kids are 20 years different because of how we all started in this world, uh, we're coming from the same place, and it warms my heart because I just see another great father. Hey, thanks, Dad, for what you taught us, so that we can be who we are today. That's how I will frame that, and it's probably one of my biggest pains, but because I learned from it and I'm not afraid to make mistakes. I think I have these great kids who are now also parents and are just way better than I ever was. And it'll just keep going from there. And that's exciting.
That's awesome. I want to I'm oh Matt Mabe's coming in. I want to I want to shift this conversation, just ask you this of this just came into my head. When
Yeah, let's do it.
so the I don't know, probably some of the people on here know a little bit of the backstory of how you and Marcus were not close and then how you just
Yeah.
recently reconnected. When you guys reconnected, because I feel like that's probably is a pain point of not having a relationship with your brother, and
Sure.
what was that process like for you of I want to like restoring this relationship and stepping into
Yeah.
this, stepping into that and using some of those tools.
Yeah. Thank you for asking. It's one of my favorite stories, but it wasn't my favorite story at the time, but it's one of my favorite stories now. Um, so I'll have to go back to this other piece that I on my wall here is a like stickies. I'm a sticky guy. I got all the colors. And there's these quotes everywhere. And when I'm like, I'm just ready. If people need a quote, I got it. And one of my favorites is pain is inevitable, suffering is optional. So pain is happening, folks. Like if we came here and we thought, oh, we were not supposed to have any pain, I think you signed a contract that nobody else saw. So pain has been happening in my life constantly. But the things that I stay on and I just focus on and it hurts and it hurts and it hurts. There were some areas of my life that were working really, really well and some that weren't. And I was on a call. I was doing a course. Some of you have heard of Tony Robbins. I'm sure I was on a course with him, and he said this thing. It's just sort of off. Like it wasn't the main topic. He's saying, "Yeah, outstanding people." I just wrote it down. And sort of on the break, I started writing out. I'm blessed to know some outstanding people. And so I started thinking about, outstanding in what areas, because there's a bunch of areas I wasn't doing great. And I was like, I wrote down this guy and he's outstanding at this, and this person outstanding at this. And then there was this one name on my sheet, and he's outstanding in 3 areas. And that's like I have nobody else that has more than one. And again, I know some amazing, successful humans. But it turns out that like this guy I barely know, this is my little brother, and he was crushing it in my world, like of what success is in certain areas. And I was like, I want to know what's going on. Remember, I said at the beginning I study successful people, so I'm not afraid to pick up the phone. But it is weird. Any big brothers out there? Any big brothers? Hands up, or big oldest in the? Yeah. So imagine reaching out to your youngest sibling and going, hey man, you're doing great in life. Can you teach me some stuff? So I had to like bury that part of me, right? That part of me that doesn't want to learn how to walk again and go, hey, this area, this area, this area. And I can tell you what they were, and they still are. He has a really incredible relationship with his wife. Like I just, yeah, in this time, in this world where I don't see a lot of respect and love and like they talk the same way whether they're in the room or out of the room. It's like I was the MC at his wedding, like 100 years ago, but I've never seen anything but total love and respect, and I watched for it, and it could find a hole in it. Uh, he has an incredible work ethic, and especially with his body. Those that don't know it, he's got a killer body. It's a weird thing to say about your brother. I get it, but he just has a mentality for working out and what he eats, and I didn't. I was like, who cares? But I want to know more about it. And the third one was faith. And what was happening for me, I was in pain because I didn't have faith. I had just lost, like, I went to Catholic school and did the church thing when I was little. And when I was given a choice, which was 13 years old, I'm like, adios. Like, I'm out of here. And took a 40-year break before I went back and said to my brother, you're outstanding at this. I took my notepad in. Tell me how to be better. And he said, well, let's start with one of those. We're doing a course on called Alpha starting tonight or tomorrow night. And so you're invited. And I'm like, I don't want to do that. Can you just tell me the stuff? Because I just want to, can you just give me some homework? And can you give me a book or something? And he's like, no, dude, you got to do it. And you're going to get into the gym and we're going to talk about relationship. And I'm here to tell, bro, was that 2 years ago even? It wasn't that long ago, 2 years ago. So I'll just report back on those things. I'm in the best shape of my life. I actually got biceps these days, and I'm looking good. Um, I found God again. Like he welcomed me back. Actually, I got baptized by my brother in the Pacific Ocean, um, and it's completely changed my relationship with everything. And then I found the most amazing woman that I don't think I would have noticed before. And now I'm just like, how did I not see this? Those three things. I literally walked in and said, "Can you help me with this?" And he went, "I can't wait to help you with this." And less than 2 years, my life has completely changed in those three areas.
Beautiful, man.
Love that.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I love that story every time you tell it.
Yeah,
Thank you.
that's really powerful. And that was a great question, Diana.
Good
Yeah,
question.
Diana, way to set up your guest. That was
Man, that was
awesome.
good. That was deep, D. That was deep.
No, thank
That
you.
was.
That was beautiful. So let's just kind of go from there and let's talk about that third. I feel like we're kind of talking about all of the things like all
Yeah.
mishmash together anyway. But that third strategy, which is, well, it's honestly number one, but it's our choosing our tools wisely and choosing
Yes.
our tools for breakthrough wisely, which we believe like faith is number one. And we say faith and fitness, and I don't even necessarily like faith is number one. And
Yeah.
and then fitness of just taking care of our physical body, taking care of our brains, and these amazing gifts that we've been given, while we're here on earth. So just give us your insights on that, the choosing those tools that we need.
Yeah. So I think, one of the things I love to do is help people with their toolboxes. So I lead leaders and I'm like, hey, I've picked up 46 tools along the way and I'd love to share them. And they're not all going to work, but use the ones that work for you. And um, one of the things I start with is you got to lead yourself. You got to lead yourself first. Like you can't lead anybody if you're not leading yourself. And so and then what's funny is I was leading people for years without really leading myself, especially in the two that you mentioned, which is faith and fitness. And so what's changed for me now is that I'm like, I can show up more as me because I have those two locked in. And so neither of those are um, an option for me. They make me a better person. They make me a better leader. They're non-negotiables. And when I have those, like my go-to tools is what story am I telling myself? It's my number one story. What story am I telling? Am I in perception or am I at perspective? Because perception is very much, I'll just say, perception is nothing. Perception is an opinion. Like we say about opinions, everyone's got one. Perception's not, what do you see? Like, Oh, this is what I see. Like, congratulations. Is it serving you? Does it serve you? Does walking around with that story, does it serve you? And it's my go-to question. And you should, so I ask this, my two main clients are 55-year-old C-suites, tons of pressure, total stress. And my second biggest client are 13-year-old girls who are trying to hit a softball. Those are my two main groups. So what I say to both of them is, you can't hurt my feelings. Like, I've been yelled at by everybody. And what I'll ask is, this question is, do your beliefs serve you? If they do, you should keep them. Do your stories serve you? If you do, you should keep them. But the good news is, if they don't, you made them up. So change them. And so really what I do is I help people change their story, or at least the narrative. And the narrative from down here in perception is a very different narrative than you'll see and hear up at perspective. And so I'll ask myself and I'll ask others, perception or perspective. I got to tell you this thing, perspective or perception. Which one are we in? Even if that just makes them pause for a second, like, and then they'll usually go, crap. Crap. This is just what I'm making up. This is just my story. Right. Mm. And then the second one that really helps is, are you accepting or are you resisting? To me, there's a superpower out there that anyone could take on and get, because we all know the word. But if you really learn to use acceptance for what it is in my world, it's a superpower. It's a superpower. Acceptance doesn't mean I like it or I approve of it or I'm okay with it. It just means it's happening. Acceptance is a superpower. Most people's stories are why it shouldn't be and why it's not fair and why I can't. It's like, we can spend all day here if you like, but when we get to acceptance, it's like, this is what's happening. This is what's happening right now. I'll share with you one of the saddest things that's ever happened in my life, because in this world of, turning pain around, is Marcus and I had a cousin who died in a drunk driving accident. She was this amazing, like, it's crazy when people die, you hear, oh, they were just the most amazing, and you only hear the good stuff. She was all of that. She was all of that. And she was volunteering at a softball game she was coaching, and she was coming home, and somebody came down a hill and ended her life. And I can't say that wasn't the roughest thing I've been through. She was very close. I was very, very close to her and her family. And for about 4 days, because even the family asked me to go speak to the news. Can you just be out there? It was a very big story. And I said, I just want my cousin back. So I'm in resistance. And by the way, there's nothing wrong with resistance. There's nothing wrong with it. That's where I needed to be. But it wasn't until I could get into acceptance. And the acceptance was, she's gone. She's gone. And in that moment, there was a shift. And I was like, okay, what can we do? And I'll give you the quick version. We set up a scholarship fund for her, and people wanted to donate to that. We've put 35 kids through school with that since it happened 7 years ago. Created the biggest softball tournament in Canada in her name, and that's what funds the scholarship program, and it's still going. And we even had it on the floor of the Canadian government and the Commons to change the drunk driving laws. It's called the Cassandra Law. That didn't pass, but there were 3 big things that happened from this horrible situation. The only thing that I will say about it is nothing happened until there was some acceptance, like it had happened. And so I'm sharing the story not because it's a fun story, but it's a reminder that until we can accept, we cannot change. Until you accept the situation, you cannot change. If you come to me with any kind of issue, hey, I'm going to do this thing, I'm going to change this, I'm going to say, where are you at? What is actually going on? Because if you don't tell me where you're at, I can't help you with where you're going. It's like trying to book a flight. Say, I want to go to New York. Like, that's fantastic. Where are you coming from? Also very important. We can't get your trip started. acceptance is a superpower. And once you really get it, it is a game changer for me.
Mm.
I got one more thing on acceptance while we're there is, I used to think awareness was the biggest thing. And I realized awareness is powerful. But if you don't add acceptance to it, you're going to have a problem. In fact, I just recently heard a quote that said, awareness without acceptance equals depression.
Mm.
And it really lands for me because I think there's a lot of aware people who are stuck. They're like, I can't do anything until he, she, it, they change. Like, yeah, that's not acceptance. That's not acceptance.
Mm.
And so it's one of the biggest talks and one of the biggest tools I have in my toolbox is like, if I actually want to move, I need acceptance. If you want to wallow, and by the way, nothing wrong with wallowing for a while, cool. But you probably don't want to work with me in that time. You don't want to pay the big bucks to wallow.
Mm.
I'm terrible at helping you with that. I'm really good at help. If you want to move, I'm here for that.
Mm.
Love that. Really good. Um, I would like to just another piece is that I think is a big tool is the power of connection and community.
Mm.
So,
Yeah,
what
yeah, great one.
do we
Man,
know
you're good
about
at this.
what do we know about those?
Yeah, it's so good. You know, there's another piece to all of this, and I think a lot of people know this is who do you spend your time with, right? Because every once in a while you might have some success, and if you are hanging around with people who are not successful in that area, and we've all done it, there's going to be a choice that gets made. Well, sooner or later, either they're coming up to your level or you're going back down to their level. Those are the two I have seen. But there's a third option, which is go find some other people who are hanging out here. And I say I studied successful people. Like this was before the internet. I was obsessed. Like, how do you succeed at business? How do you be a better father? How do you do these things? And I would drive around and I would read books and I would try to just talk to people, ask some questions. How I learned to ask good questions was studying successful people. And what happens, what's happened the last few years, we had this weird pandemic. I don't know if you guys have heard of it, but it's really changed how we do things. And one of the amazing things about it is its communities are available. Like as I look at this group, like this is a community. And what we realized, I think for a lot of us, is that we were missing that during COVID. It was like, man, where's my people? And there's this old saying of you become the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with has never been more true than in COVID. And some people really suffered because they were stuck with, their people. And it was a moment to check in. And from there, I think I just came more interested in like, how do you get your 5? How do you know where are they? And I think it was the beginning of a possibility, and it's led to this idea of creating this great community. And since I have my brother here, I'd be happy to have him talk a little bit about what is play a bigger game and how does that all work.
Thank you, bro. Man, you're doing such a great job. And I wanted to chime in earlier, but I just wanted to tell you how proud of you I am. And I love you, man. And I'm very, very grateful for the fact that you made that first step to come and have that conversation with me back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
It leads us to this, getting to work with you on a daily, which is just amazing. Play a bigger game. Just it's an invite for anybody on this call who misses having a community, wants a community that's around them to support them with love and to lift each other up and push each other to grow and learn from great minds and have a 5 that's going to drag you up and celebrate. I think people are forgetting to celebrate. I think it's a lost art now. Well, my brother and I really like to celebrate a lot. And Mike and Diana are also leaders in this. And man, we love to celebrate. We celebrate every little action that anyone is taking. Anytime you're moving a little bit closer to your goals, to your dreams. We're going to celebrate together.
Yeah. Awesome.
Beautiful.
So included in that is community calls where you get to discuss things with leaders. There are coaches, there are mentors, and there are courses you can take on all kinds of subjects to just, play a bigger game. And that, that's what I believe 2024 is all about. We keep hearing about it, but the idea of more in 2024 there's Play a Bigger Game is starting, and then there's also this amazing conference down in Tampa. Should we talk about that, or is that okay to talk about here?
I guess we can talk about that too.
Yes, we can talk about it.
Awesome. So on the Play a Bigger Game, like we'll put in the website. You go on there, check it out, and there's a big free workshop coming up on New Year's Day. Like if you're going to start, like why not start on day one and come see how we do it differently. We're not a goal setting community. We're about understanding your values and about what's important to you, and then the support it's going to take to help you push through those hard times so you get what it is you say you want.
Yep.
So that's on that side. And then there's this other awesome side that plays really well with what we're talking about.
Yeah, so I just encourage anybody that's watching, or if you're watching this as a replay, you can go to playabiggergame.com and you can sign up for the January. You can sign up for January right there.
Yep, we'll be there too.
Yeah.
Diane and I will be on January 1. Be watching.
We'll be there.
We'll be there.
So, so we're super excited about that. And then as a way of people coming together in person in January, we're actually able to connect together in human world where we look at each other and we can touch each other.
Some people don't like being touched. We force hugs sometimes.
I have a bubble. So, sometimes I'll hug you and then you got to get out of the bubble. But we're super excited about Lean In, Level Up, the conference that is going to be in Tampa, January 26th to 28th. And you're going to hear us talking about it pretty much every single day, like leading in. And we would just love to invite all of you to come to that too. You guys, Darren is actually our host, our MC. He's going to be heading the whole thing up. Just keeping us on track, helping me keep my head on straight, and just also there to share insights, and you guys are going to be doing a workshop for people as well, as part of the event. You and Marcus are. Yeah. Marcus is going to be there. He's going to be one of our speakers during workshop. So we really would love you guys to come and connect with us in person. And the reason it's that third week of January 1st is one of the specific reasons is because that's the time of year that literally within 3 weeks of January is when the majority of people fall off track with their goals. Yeah. So it's only maybe 8% to 9% of people actually follow through the end of the year and have actually succeeded at their goals. So we're like, okay, how do we get more people to be we want to be part of that 8%, that 9%. So this event is for people that want to be a part of that 9%. At the end of the year, they are still going strong as they were at the beginning of the year. And there's going to be a lot of road bumps. We know that the year is going to be full of twists and turns and things that aren't expected. So let's get equipped out the gate so that we have the tools that we need so that we can actually stay on track for the whole year. So it's going to be incredible. We're super excited. And I'll put this in the chat too. But for those who are joining us for the workshops, we have a special promotion. It'll go through December 31st. I'm going to cut off that promo on December 31st. But it'll be, it's $150 off of any ticket level at leaninlevelup.com. And Darren actually was gracious enough. I'll let you share what your offer is for Darren's offer. You actually have to buy within the next 48 hours though. So anybody that signs up for Lean In Level Up conference ticket, you can use the coupon code PURPOSE. And then within the next 20 or 48 hours, and Darren, you want to tell them what your bonus?
I'm trying to remember. Did I say 2 or 3? Was it 3? I think I said. I must have. I wrote it down as 3, and then I went, I said that. So what you may not know
You
is
could
what
just
I
say
do for a
two.
living.
They don't know what it
I
is.
said 2. I'm the 2. Now they're going to see it on recording. I'll do the bigger one because I play a bigger game. I coach people for a living, and I absolutely love what I get to do. I talked a lot on this call. If we're on a coaching call, what you'll notice is you're the star of the show. My job is to ask questions and help you get clear. So I'm going to offer, if you're on the fence and you're like, I think I want to go, do I want to go? Um, I'll offer 3 free coaching sessions. That's $250 a pop. So there's some value in that. If you sign up in the next 48 hours. So you're like, oh, are they doing this to get us to sign up? Yes, they are. This
Yes.
is what they're doing. And I love meeting new people anyway, so I love it. But in 3 sessions, we get you turned around and rocking, ready to rock for your 2024, the year of more.
Wow.
And I love that for you.
That's
And
big.
yeah, excited to offer it. And on that, if people want to stay on this, I don't know what the deal is with you guys, but if people have questions, I don't want them to go away and go, "What did he mean?" Or, I wonder if what that means to me. I'm here to answer whatever questions, however long that takes. Please know that that's available here.
Yep, we're gonna and thank you guys for holding on to your questions because that's actually what we'll transition into. So thank you. That's an incredible offer. So like you said, for any of you who are thinking of going that have not signed up for your tickets and get those within the next 48 hours and yeah, we'll get 3 incredible coaching sessions too. So thank you for that. And yeah, so now I'm going to switch up my view so I can see people's hands and stuff. But so those of you who have questions or takeaways, if you want to just put your hands up and then I'll kind of just take you guys in order from as far as what you have for questions and takeaways. Okay, Kendall, thank you for stopping in and we will see you soon. Asher, if you want to unmute yourself and let us know your question. Glad you're back here with us too.
Yeah, thank you. Sorry, my camera's off. I've been on the road, so that'll just remain off because it's dark anyway.
No
But
problem.
I was wondering about how to watch the replays of the workshop. I meant to ask like the last couple workshops, but because they're excellent.
So Asher, you should be getting the newsletter, like, so we've been sending them out, but are you on Facebook?
Yeah, I believe so. In the like the Hitch Fit group chat
You're
thing.
in Hitch Fit one? So there's a page on Face Groups called it's the Soul Fit community.
Yeah,
page.
it's
And if you want to just go and because I've been actually posting the videos later on there, I've been sending out via email the replays, but then I'm also posting them in that page too. So if you request to join that page, then you'll see all the way up to Marcus.
so it's titled Soul Fit Retreats Community.
So just go to that
Okay.
page and click to join there, and you'll actually see all of the ones up to Marcus. I don't have Martha's up there yet, but I will here within the next day or two.
Yep.
And then if you should be getting those the newsletters.
We'll get the emails out too.
That have
Yep.
the replays.
They're always a couple
yeah,
days behind that way.
Yeah, we're
Gotcha.
delaying them intentionally because you got to take the offer. You got to get your ticket.
We got to get you. We got to get you to Tampa.
So, but yeah, but we'd love for you to get in that page too, so that we can stay connected
Yep.
with you too.
Awesome. Thank you.
You bet, man.
You bet. Matt, Maeve, you must have, or Chatty Chad. Let's go, Chatty Chad.
Chad
He's been
did have a
waiting.
question.
He had his question. Where'd you go, Chad Chad?
He's right there.
Oh, there you are.
What up, what up? Rock and roll, baby. So Darren, you talked about reframing and but I don't really know if we really went over, I mean, you talked about it, but throw us an example.
Yeah, great.
Throw us like a real life example.
Yeah, great, Chad. So thanks for bringing that. You want to play? You'll play with me for a minute?
Let's do it.
Awesome. So is there a person in your life, don't name them, there's a person in your life when you think about them, you feel like an energy loss? You're like, oh man, I got to deal with this. I gotta have this conversation. Is there somebody that comes to mind for you?
Maybe just one time in my life.
Okay, so one time. Okay, great.
I'm
so
kidding.
You're a human. Welcome to the human world. So So if I just ask you to sink into that for a moment, don't worry, we're not going to stay there. Just sink into like how you feel about this situation. And I just
Right.
want you to give me a number on your energy from 0 to 10. 0 is like I have none, 10 is I have a lot. Where would you be with energy on
If I like go there, go there. I
that?
mean,
Go there,
10
go
easy.
there.
If I go there, like really 10 easy. Yeah, for sure.
So you have a lot of energy, you feel really good? Or or
No, I
0,
mean
you feel really
like on the drain, like on
on
the
the,
drain
but
spectrum,
let's say
like on the
10 is a gain, 10's a gain, 0's a
okay,
drain. Where are you
zero,
at?
zero, zero,
Okay,
zero,
0.
zero for
Thank you.
sure.
Okay.
Yep,
So you get that. Okay. So now I'm going to
yep.
ask you this. This person, is it a person or a thing?
Person for sure.
Okay, thank you. So does this person have strengths?
Yeah,
Okay. So I just want you to see them in their strengths. Now I know you have other
right.
stories. I know you have lots of other history. But if you just think about them, their strengths for a moment, just see them in their strengths. And I get,
Right.
you're doing this on camera, you're doing it in front of a bunch of people, but I really want you to see them in their highest light. Like, you know, they have strengths. They do some things well. Don't add the yeah buts to it, but just like, yeah, they do this, they do that. I see them. I can see them doing that. Do you have something there? Is there anything you can tie to?
Yes.
Thank you. Thanks for playing along, Chad. You're doing great. So just see them there and just hold them there and then just check in with yourself. What's your energy around this person? Is it from 0 to 10 right now?
I mean, it's bumped up a
Okay. So
couple notches.
that's fantastic, Chad. So first of all, thank you for playing along. So my belief is this: we have more energy, we have more choices. Believe that? Does that make sense? More
Sure.
energy, more choice. Okay. So you literally have given yourself a 2 point bump. And you say, yeah, but I'm only a 2. I say, yeah, but you were a 0. So that's a reframe.
Yeah.
And when you're at a 2,
Yeah.
now we're talking, Chad, because you're off the starting blocks, right? You're off the starting. So
Right.
now it's like, okay, good start.
Ooh.
So what I would say is, hey, can you think about something in the right setting where this person you actually feel like kind of warm to, like if they do this one thing, and so we will just keep moving you, not to go from 0 to 10, but actually 0 to 2 to 4 to 5 to 6 is like if you can get it to a 7, you can get it to an 8, you can change the world. And I get how ridiculous that sounds. This is somebody you're like, man, it's a 0, but it's not a 0 anymore. At least you have a choice. You say, I don't have to see it as a 0. And see, to
Yeah.
me, this is a reframe. And I get when you say that's not going to make enough difference. But I'll say this, Chad, what if everything in your life you could up 2 points? What if?
Yeah.
Because you just did it with the hardest thing
Yeah.
possible, right?
Yeah. I think another way to look at that is how, and I'm going to go there. I'm going to go deep on. I'm going hard in the paint on this one.
Yes, thank you.
People walk around on Earth and they're so hard on themselves for whatever certain things they've been through, gone through, bad things they regret, but they forget to look at how God looks at us.
Thank you.
And
Thank
so
you.
God looks at us, and I know that's hard for a lot of people to conceptualize because they're so like this on their hangups in their life, but they don't
Yeah,
see how God sees us. And it's even though we're humans, we're not source, we're not God, but at the same time, you're looking at the light instead of
thank
focusing on someone's hangups. So it's kind of
you.
like it's a perspective shift, it's a paradigm shift.
That's what a reframe is, by the way.
Right. Right.
Like that's exactly what it is. It's like you're
And
looking at it this way. What if you did?
that's the type of thing though. That's the type of thing that it's not easy to do. And it's but I think the more you do it, just
Thank
like
you.
anything else. I mean, at
I
first,
agree.
because you're like, no, but that person they did this, and this, or
Right.
whatever the thing is, and it's like
Yes.
I don't want to magnify their strengths because I'm
Right.
what they did was blah 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 and it hurt and but I think the
Yes.
more you do it because it's a
Yeah.
choice
Yes.
and then you increase your vibration in your life,
Yes.
you increase your
Then what?
vibration in how you walk,
Yes.
and that's a game changer. So
That's it. That's it. I mean, Chad, thank you. Because I couldn't agree more. But if everybody had more energy, what would happen?
Right.
Right? If your vibration went up, what would happen?
Well, it's that, the core of that is love. That's what
Thank
that
you.
is.
Thank you.
That's the core of that.
Beautiful.
Love it.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you,
you, man.
Patty.
Thank you, Chad.
Thank you.
You got a question, Anthony? You want to unmute yourself?
Yeah, I just want to build further on what Chad and Chad and Darren were just talking about. So let's say I understand the benefit of the reframing, the moving up the scale as Darren was talking about. And I'm just thinking, let's say energy is everything and energy is everywhere. You move your focus to this new higher energy, up the scale positivity, but that negative energy that you may have had in the moment, let's say it's a person that you repeatedly have to have contact with.
Sure.
That's going to keep repeating itself. So what do you do about that? I mean, you can't, every time you come to deal with this person, okay, I've got to reframe. I'm ignoring that. I've got to reframe. I'm ignoring that. That is going to become quite a pile of whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
So what do we
Thanks,
do with that? Eventually,
that's real.
Come back into vision somewhere. I feel
so good. And listen, this is like, let's just hang out here, folks. Like, this is awesome for me. Like this is what I get called into in corporate America. They're like, hey, we got a problem. Yeah, we got a problem. So I come in and it's generally exactly a version of what you're talking about, Anthony. And so what I'm going to say is I'm not asking you to ignore anything. I'm asking you to accept. And that's a very big difference. That's a very big difference. Do not put on blinders. That's just going to create more problems. Like, actually go to big picture. It's like, what is it about this person that's creating this reaction from me? Well, they lie, they cheat, they steal. Like, okay, so that's happening. Like, acceptance is that is happening. Now, what do I want to do about it? Acceptance leads me to the all important question: what am I going to do about it? Resistance leads me to the all important question of, I'll just pretend it's going to go away. And did it? And then I can be upset about it, and then I can gather more evidence. But what I'd be curious about is, Anthony, is like, we all do this, but there's a story you have of that won't work. That won't work. And it's like, I get it. That I have very similar stories. So I would say, well, okay, what will work? What will work? And for me, I know the answer is acceptance. And so I would start with, what can you accept? What can you accept? And once we start there, now we're cooking with gas. And my biggest belief of all, and I can't believe I didn't say it today, I'm sure it's written here somewhere, but you will always find what you're looking for. Let me just say that again. You will always find what you're looking for. If you think relationships are hard, guess what? You're like, there it is again. There it is again. Look, oh, here we go again. Because we are walking around with these lenses that are just taking in the stuff that we already agree with. And anything that we don't agree with, we got to I don't like that. My experience of this particular story that we did with Chatty Chat is to say, if you came at it with more energy, do you think you could create a new story? That's it. And my experience is 100% of the time, yes. I didn't say it's going to be world-changing different story. I just know it's going to be a different story. You can't have the same story when you add energy. Can't. It's going to get better or worse.
What about having an actual conversation with that person too?
Wonderful. That generally tends to happen when we have more energy. Because when we have low energy and they want to have a conversation, where are we at? Some version of middle fingers up. Like, I'm not doing that. But when I have more energy, it's like, okay, maybe today will be different. Maybe we can have a different conversation. Things change when you add energy, folks. I mean, try it. Go to the gym with no energy. Try your experience. Go to the gym with lots of energy. Note your experience. Go home to your partner with no energy. Go home to your partner with more energy. What's your experience?
Yeah.
Energy doesn't lie. So that's where I'm a big fan of. And remember, I said earlier, focus goes, energy flows. So what I'm focusing on, that's where my energy is. If I want to see them as terrible and awful and this will never work, you're right. If I want to see possibilities and maybe and what else can we do, you're right.
I agree. And let's assume, for the sake of the discussion, that you've moved into that space of positive energy and you've created a better environment between you and this person.
Yes. Yes.
But it still doesn't meet your needs.
Okay.
Is there ever going to be a point where you say, you know what, I did the best I could. I created a different story. My focus was different. But I think I have to accept that this is a relationship that doesn't serve either of us.
So good. So good. And here's what I'll say is let's have that conversation when you get there. Because what we try to do is we're guessing at the bottom of the mountain what it's going to be like at the top of the mountain. It's like, oh, when I get there, I'll be tired, and maybe I'll decide I didn't want. Have that discussion when you get there. If it's important enough, or at least take a step up the mountain, then make it, I want to keep going or I want to go back down. But we actually don't know. You say, but what I know what'll probably happen, then you'll probably be right. But the first part, what you said, I really liked, which was, yeah, I can see that would be better. That could be better. I said, well, that's pretty good, isn't it?
Yeah.
Cool.
All right, thanks, Darren.
You're very welcome. Thanks for playing along, by the way. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for that question. Jasmine, you got your hand up. Can you want to hop on and ask your question?
Yeah, I have a question. Where does expectation kind of fall into this? Because, sometimes you set certain goals and you have like expectation, and then all of a sudden it becomes too much and then the energy kind of dwindles down. So I was just kind of figuring where that kind of.
Yeah, that's really great, Jazz. Thanks for outing that. And so what, again, this is just one person's perspective, and this is what I get to have these different talks all the time. But I haven't seen a lot of times where expectations have served me or served others. I haven't seen it where it serves me. I think it's something we learned when we were younger as a survival tactic, but I don't know if it actually serves us. And so that would be my first question, Jess, if we were talking, I'd say, hey, is that working for you? Is that getting you what you want? Because there are other ways. In fact, I have a list of like 4 no-nos for Darren. And you want to guess what number 1 is? No expectation. No expectation. None. So I don't do anything with the thought of it's got to pay me back for me to do it. I don't enter into those contracts. I don't believe in them. When I was younger, I get that worked, right? I cleaned my room, I got some allowance, right? I expected it. But after surviving, I'm like, I actually don't think it helps me thrive to have expectation. It doesn't help me thrive. And I'm only interested in thriving. And I get that's not for everybody. But I have a belief that deep down we would all like it or have more of.
So expectations should not be at the same level of a goal.
Correct. In my opinion, correct. Very different. I like to say I'm committed, not attached. I'm so committed to getting into shape. I'm not attached on how. I'm just going to do my job. I'm committed to going to the gym 5 times a week. I'm committed to watching the food I put in my body and tracking it. That's my commitment. I'm not attached to the scale telling me how I'm doing or not. I just think sooner or later, I like my chances. And that was the type of thing I talk about all the time. How Vegas works is called house advantage. It's called the house advantage. And Vegas can build these big cities based on 53% winning. They know if you just keep playing, they're going to win 53% of the time. That doesn't seem very much. So, well, that means you're winning 47% of the time. And then if they just keep going and they just don't turn off the lights and they just keep the oxygen pumping and the alcohol flowing, they're going to win. And that's how I actually see goals. It's like when I'm committed to the goal, I'm doing this and I'm going to make the house advantage work for me. And that's what I think a good coach can do, can help you turn some of these things around that are getting in your way. And so, Jazz, it was a great example. I'm saying I would just check my relationship with expectation, because if it's working for you, keep doing it. And if it's not, we can change that. In fact, I'll say you can change that if you want to.
Right.
Does that make
Thank
sense?
you. Yeah, it does.
Thanks,
Thank
Jazz.
you.
Thanks for your
Thank you.
question.
Yeah, thank you, Jasmine. Really good stuff, guys. Does anybody have one more
I
question?
see Mark's hand. I see Mark's up.
Oh, Mark.
nice.
Yep,
Hi, Mark.
hey, Mark.
Yeah.
Hi, Marky.
Yeah,
Mark.
I have a question, and Darren, a lot of things you said, it hits me on a relationship I have with my family, with one of my brothers, and kind of this no expectation is kind of where I'm at. I'm comfortable with, because he's an alcoholic and does a lot of bad things, I guess, put it that way.
Yeah.
Where I'm struggling with, though, is at what point, do you, I'm gonna say, like, you let him go, where you just have to, say, hey, I want to surround myself with more positive people.
Yeah.
Where do you?
Thanks, Mark. Like, I'm trying to do this in 2 minutes, and sometimes it'll take me a year to do this very subject. And what I would get clear on is, hey, Mark, what do you want? What do you want? Because I don't know much about you. I've heard you once before, and my story I make up is what you want and you get clear about, you take steps towards and you make it happen. And suddenly things tend to happen. So what I would say is, if you want something, then get really clear on it. And what are you willing to do about it? And if you don't want something, get really clear on that as well. There are people in my life that I went, you know what? From an acceptance point of view, I choose to not keep going. I choose that. But I out it. It's not I have no guilt or shame around it. It's like, no, I made that choice. I made that choice. And doors open if things change, but here's where we're at. To me, that's also acceptance. There's no part of this talk that's going, hey, everybody, just close your eyes and pretend it's all going to be okay, and just cross your fingers and your toes, and just it'll all work, and sing kumbaya, and it'll, like, no. I'm actually much more of a pragmatic action taker and thinker. Say, why do you want that? And are you okay if it doesn't happen? And if the answer is yes, then you're doing what you want to do. But if there's still some, stuff left over, have a look at it. What is that about? Do I want to do something about it? Does that land, Mark?
Yeah, that kind of describes. Well, I'm kind of at the acceptance and no expectations, and have moved on. It's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's always there's always some feelings there, right? So
that's interesting. I hear you.
And I think it's okay, Mark. I've dealt with this in my own family. I think it's okay to love someone, but them not be in your circle, even if it's family. And that can be difficult, because it's like we're supposed to, we feel drawn to the people that are our blood. But the reality of the situation is he's under control of something completely different. He's not the kid that you knew when you were young. Unfortunately, he's an alcoholic, and that has control of him. You can pray for this man, you can love this man, but you can't have that toxic in your circle.
Okay.
Totally.
Yeah.
I have alcoholism in my family as well. And what I've chosen to do, sometimes you just have to, you love people from the balcony, and you just pray for them, and you have to have boundaries, and if, because someone who's in addiction like that, it's a long road. It's a very long road. Yes. And it's 9 times out of 10, it's internal things from their childhood, things that have happened in their life that they are trying to escape from. So until they work through that, it's just going to be a rinse and repeat. So you have to create boundaries, and you pray for them, and you love them from the balcony, and that's not easy. But you have to protect yourself, because the years go by and it's the same thing over and over and over and over, and you have to love yourself enough to do that.
Thank
That's
you.
my advice.
Thank you. I think one of the things I love about coaching is that, and you may notice this, you might have to go back on the recording and double check. Coaches don't give advice. Like coaches don't give advice. Coaches are here to elicit the best out of others. The best coaches. By the way, lots of coaches give advice. But I'm here to elicit the best out of you. One of the ways I'll do it is asking you better questions. It's one of the things I believe in. It's like, hey, is that what you want? And so what I might say is I know what I did based on my situation. But the reality is I don't know your situation enough. You know, what I'll ask is how does it feel? You know, where is it hitting you? Where's your energy at? And if the answer is no, it's pretty good where it is, I'm like, you're doing great. And if you want to change it, great. But something will have to change for that to happen. And you get to decide. But what I'm hearing is you're on the acceptance train. And
Yes.
there I like our chances when we're on the acceptance train. I just do. So thanks for everyone's share so far. And Paul, I see a hand up.
Yeah, Paula, go ahead.
Yes, hi. Just mainly a takeaway, which um, just opened my perspective even more. What really shouts at me is I noticed that with all of these things that have been presented, it's sort of pre-predicting failure before it even happens. So that's where faith comes in. So it's like, why not have faith on the positive side that things will work out for the best? Because we can only live right now. I can't live 5 minutes from now. I can only live 1 minute from now.
Yeah.
Another thing that really jumped out at me is with the resilience with the baby. It makes it seem like, well, within our journey, whatever it is, professional or health wise, we have to take baby steps because we too are still walking and learning. And with the energy, what shouted at me most was literally, it made it seem to me like treating your energy with like as if it were currency. What is your energy worth? Because sometimes you can overspend your energy and leave yourself broke of that energy. And that really stood out for me. And I was like, you know what? This is absolutely awesome because of the fact that does it serve you? Am I spending too much onto it? Maybe yes. And then that's when you can sort of pull back and go, okay, you know what? I've put my energy into it. I accept the fact that this person is the way they are, but also it's my choice not to emotionally drain my energy.
Yes.
So thank you so much for that.
Yay.
Yeah, my choice.
Well
I'm in
said.
control.
Yeah. So good. This actually brings me to this point of what I often ask people is what can you actually control? Like what can you actually control? And to me, I've decided there's only three things. After watching and learning and growing and studying, I think you can control your thoughts. And actually, the latest study shows that you can control about 80% of your thoughts. There is still some stuff going on with our hormones that doesn't allow us to create all of the thoughts we want, but we have about 80%. The second thing we can control is our actions. And again, unless you have some sort of injury that doesn't allow you, we can control 100% of our actions. And the third thing, and I think the most important thing, and I'm really glad you brought it up again, is energy. I think we have a lot more say on energy. And if you want energy, one of the things I highly recommend is you figure out what gives you energy and then go do that thing. So I'm a very simple man. It's like if that I ask people, like, well, I went and did this thing, I went and I had to have that conversation and I had to go do that. Like, how's your energy? Oh, it's drained. Like, oh, those were choices. Those were choices. It's like, I know it's like a gas tank, right? It's going to get, if you take your car out and you don't have an electric vehicle, if you do, your energy is going to go down. We just know that from where it is at the beginning, it's going to go down. Your job is to go fill it up during the day. That's your job. I can do that. I can say for me, I can put on my headphones and listen to a song. I'm really into Christian rock. You couldn't have told me that a couple years ago. I can turn on my playlist and man, I'm right back. I'm full. Let's go. Let's go. I go to the ocean. I happen to live by the ocean. I go see the ocean. My energy is boom, right? I meditate. I pray. Boom. But there's things I do that poke a hole in my tank, and I just go do it. and then go, I can't understand why I don't have any energy. It's like, really, Darren? You can't understand? Don't do the things that poke holes in your tank, and then go fill your tank. Once you figure that out, I mean, I'm not saying it can't be that simple. I'm like, well, I don't do anything that's really difficult. So check it out.
So I guess it's in a way, in a sense of um, having that acceptance will free up that energy because it takes a lot of energy for you to be in a resistance standpoint.
If you want to lose a lot of energy, I suggest be highly resistant to what's actually going on. And then go, I don't know why I'm so tired. You don't? Say, as some of my closest people say, I love you. And notice where your energy is going. Because it usually starts with something you're not going to believe this. And it happened again. And here we go. I'm like, how's that feel? And usually you can see it in people's expressions. They just drop right down. Say, if you're going to do that, I highly recommend you go do a lot of things that give you energy, because that's a poke it's just poking the hole in the tank. It's like, okay, choices. And I get there's going to be stuff that shows up because we live in a chaotic world. I highly recommend you approach chaos with lots of energy.
Love it. So good. Yeah, thank you so much. I would just say, let's hear final thoughts from Matt Mabe, and then because I got a flight at 3, we gotta leave here at like 3 o'clock in the morning. So I love you guys, but I'm not staying
Get
on
out.
tonight.
Everybody out.
Final thoughts from me?
Yeah.
Final thoughts from Matt Mabe. Yes.
All right. Well, I
Wrap
appreciate
it.
that.
Bring us home.
Well, let me see what I can do. Well, let me give a quick word to Mark. And what I would say, I have a brother and I've shared with Marcus and with Darren somewhere I've got an estranged relationship. He's 12 years older and has made some interesting life choices. But what I've come to realize that my closest brothers are not bound by birth, but bound by the blood and bound by the blood of Christ. And my brothers in Christ are closer than my birth brother. And sometimes there's acceptance, there's realization, and the door is always open on my end, and I've let that be known. And so, that's where, I have come to realize. So just quick word as it relates to, family relationships sometimes. So, but look, what an amazing time. Darren, thank you for, bringing such a good word, for sharing openly to the group here today, for sharing your heart, for words of wisdom, for your great coaching questions. And, the thing is, I think that Darren is an amazing resource to be able to come alongside and offer up coaching opportunities. And so I would say for all of those who have listened here, if you haven't signed up for the retreat at the end of January, take advantage of that along with Darren's generous offer. As Play a Bigger Game rolls out, it's this type of community, right, where we all derive energy and we all get better together. We are iron sharpening iron together. So it's important. These are intentional times. So be intentional with your time, where you spend it, where you're drawing your energy from, and to have such a blessed opportunity just to jump on a free call like this. Like, what a great gift. And so, thank you everybody for jumping on, for taking some moments of your time out of your evening away from your family, what you're doing. But what it is, it's a testament to who you are and what you're striving toward in life. So continue that pursuit of greatness, be consistent with it. Don't give up. Don't let it be a flash in the pan when the New Year's rolls around. Just don't make a quick New Year's resolution, but be consistent throughout the year. You will see the changes. The daily right decisions will compound for a life well lived. The daily wrong decisions will also compound for a life not well lived. So I challenge you guys to be consistent as we head into the end of the year here. Merry Christmas to all who is on here. And love you guys. Appreciate you being here. Thank you, Micah and Diana, for just leading another great session. Love you guys.
Love you too, brother.
Thank you. Love you too. All right. Final word from Darren.
Well, I love these type of rooms. I love to love. One of the things, if you do come to Tampa, you'll see, the Kaulius brothers are huggers. They're sometimes extra long, especially him. But we love to love, and then that can be weird, to some people. But the reality is, like, I love people stepping into their greatness. I like that's what I'm here for. I'm here on this planet to help people step into their greatness. And so chances like this to listen and learn and grow and share, I'll crawl over broken glass for. So thank you for showing up and thank you for what you bring for me. And I really appreciate the opportunity to give and share and learn. So thank you, Mike and Diana and everyone who is here on this call. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you
so much,
and,
man.
yeah. Yay! We nailed it again, everybody.
Man, we
nailed
somehow
it
got
again.
through.
So, yeah, thank you guys. Thank you, Darren, so much for being here and sharing all of that great wisdom. And thank you guys for coming on and just being intentional and asking your questions and leaning in. Yeah, we're leaning in. So yeah, we really hope that we'll see you guys all at the conference with us and on the Play a Bigger Game call on January 1. Let's just keep it rolling, people. So with that, I gotta go packing my bag and then we're out.
Yep.
But we love you guys.
Yep.
And we will see you all again soon.
Guys, thanks everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks everybody.
All right, brother.
Be safe.
You too, man.
Merry Christmas, guys.
Marcus, Darren,
Chloe,
Matt,
Corey.
we gotta hold on for a minute.
Okay, hold. I'm gonna stop recording now.
Stop recording.
Or can I stop it? Okay.